Good morning. So I'm actually just running to the grocery store, but I figured I might as well sit down and do some makeup and talk to you for a bit. I've never done this style of video. I hope it goes well. But the really nice thing about YouTube, a lot of the pressure came off when I realized like I can film things and they never ever have to see the light of day. I never have to post it, and so if it doesn't work out, that's totally fine. Might as well try it. This is obviously not going to be a beauty focused video, actually, as the title will probably indicate. I am going to try to talk about some of my feelings around Chanel. And I also apologize if I'm not usually looking at the lens. Like I said, never really done this before, so I'm going to do my best and we'll see how it goes. I really struggle to put my thoughts together in this style of video. Do you like my little, speaking of, do you like my little hair clips? Everyone must put their hair back, right? I always see women like in the movies with those fabulous messy buns, and it's like those tendrils of hair, and just get it out. I really struggle to organize my thoughts in this kind of video because it feels very different just throwing ideas around in messages or with my husband or something. Like, it feels so final and very serious to put a video together. It is there on the internet forever. I've said it and it's, you know, it's there. And my thoughts are always evolving on this. Experiences change. So when it comes to Chanel, I haven't made it a secret that I specifically avoided going in when I was in New York City this past weekend. I just didn't want the possibility of having a bad experience. We were having such a fabulous day, like going into the different boutiques. We were getting excellent service. Now, something that like recently came up in my comments, because I talked about this one guy who made this sexist comment to my husband, like, and I have truly noticed that I get better service when he's there. I think it's maybe because, I mean, maybe it's subconscious on their part. I think a lot of bigotry is, unfortunately, or sexism, anything. Like, I think maybe subconsciously they take me more seriously as a buyer because there's a man to back me up. I'm a young woman. Maybe when I go in by myself, they don't know if I'm just there to play around. I don't know. And they think, oh God, another person just trying to get fancy bag pictures or something. Like, I mean, maybe that's fair. I don't really know. But I just didn't even want to go into Chanel because actually the last time I did go in, Ben was with me. We went in and I was so excited because I saw that purple caviar card holder sitting up on the wall. And I ran. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have this, you know, and it was actually right in front. It was sitting behind a matching purple caviar big zippered pouch, which was also very, very pretty. And then, you know, and I immediately was like, yes, oh, I want this. I'm going to keep looking around. They put it to the side for me, but I didn't really get a good look at it. And then when I did get a good look, I wasn't seeing anything else that I wanted, wasn't prepared to spend Chanel money. And really the whole time, the essay seemed pretty indifferent to me. You know, she was just kind of on her phone, and she wasn't offering to show me anything. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, take a look around. And then when I finally got a look at the card holder, that's when I saw that there was damage on it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I just mentioned this briefly in one of my, I think it was my favorites video, because I love my purple Bottega card holder so much, it reminded me of this situation. And that wasn't the first time that I had found a clearly defective item being sold for an insane amount of money. I don't pretend that spending this amount of money on anything is reasonable. I said I was going to do my makeup in here. I start rambling. Okay, well, I'm going to use the Tom Ford tinted moisturizer. It has some sunscreen in it, but I don't pretend that spending $400 on a card holder is ever reasonable, but sometimes I have the expendable income to do it, and I think they're very pretty. So I don't mind doing it. I'm probably gonna do a really bad job on my makeup today, because I'm not used to doing this. And so the SA could see that I was looking at it, and like she could see that my face fell and was just like, oh, and I was like, and she was like, oh, no, this is fine. And I want to say this one thing, because I think it's important. I have never, ever felt disrespected by the price increases at Chanel. I didn't like them. I wasn't like, wee, yay! I'm so glad they've raised the prices. And occasionally I probably griped like everybody else. Like, ugh. Okay, but I never felt disrespected by them. I never felt like personally attacked. Because ultimately, my position was always, yeah, this sucks, but they're a business. They are raising their prices because they can. That is why. Because people are willing to pay for it. And yeah, why wouldn't they? If someone is willing to pay $10,000 for a classic flap, why wouldn't Chanel do that? It's not personal. It's not something they're doing to me. Sometimes that means I can't afford things, and that's okay. I'm not willing to, honestly, work more, put in longer hours or whatever to be able to buy certain things. So that's fair, whatever. That's okay. I don't mind not being able to buy some things. This situation with almost like trying to like gaslight customers, like this feeling that they think so little of you that they'll put out damaged, extravagantly priced items. That made me feel disrespected. That made me honestly just feel dirty. I did. I felt gross. I'm just like, I need to leave. I feel so uncomfortable. And it was because of how cavalier she was. Like, no. Oh, and she tried to then say like, oh, well, you probably see damage on your card holders because you're overstuffing them. And, if you ever did that with this Chanel card holder, we would of course fix it, because we're Chanel. And I'm like, dude, this is defective or damaged or flawed or whatever it is. Usually I put on like a little bit of my regular moisturizer before putting on this stuff. And today I didn't. And that's part of the reason why I had to use a brush just to kind of smooth things around, and I struggle with my nose. Yeah, it makes like the little nose area, I think, easier. But it also like thins out the product, which I like. Yeah. So that wasn't the first time that I've had a damaged product in Chanel. This has happened a couple times this year, and I haven't bought anything from Chanel this year, frankly, because I've been enjoying spending my money elsewhere. If you didn't see the one video, I was like this close to buying a currently priced blue caviar classic flap, and I just couldn't do it. This is like a luminizing powder from Dior. I only bought in the current Sephora sale, or maybe it just ended or whatever. I only bought this and my makeup removing balm. Truthfully, so I'm not at like the highest tier in Sephora anymore, and 15% off sales on beauty are very, very common in department stores. So yeah, you get them. I mean, actually, I just received, like, in over email, I just got a 25% off coupon code for Saks, and yeah, it included beauty. So I only got a couple things. So what was I saying? Yeah, this isn't the first time I've been presented with damaged items. Actually, it was in a lambskin iridescent card holder at this same boutique in New Jersey. The leather didn't properly overlap, and the two sides were clearly uneven. So imagine the card slots going like across the card holder. One was like this. So on this side where it was lower, it didn't even overlap. There was this huge gap showing like the underside pieces, the parts that are not supposed to be exposed. And that is potentially going to have like moisture damage and whatnot. Like, it's because it's not all zipped up and protected. The fact that this was even put on the shop floor, you know they've handled these pieces. I'm sure some things slip through. They're human. It happens. But to happen over and over and over again, now either people at that boutique like are really not paying attention. But I'm kind of like, you're selling $400 card holders. Like, it's your job to pay attention. To have so many damaged products, and I'm seeing the pictures everybody else is on Instagram when you enjoy these things, and friends are sending me pictures of walks with super wonky flaps, uneven quilts, like lifted sides. So that's the damaged thing that currently frustrates me. Quality issues happen, but for them to happen so often, and for the essay's attitude just to be dismissive about it. Actually, this reminds me, because this is a perfect way of how it should have been handled. I was at Fendi this past weekend, and it was a fabulous experience. I was looking at one of the little charms, the bag charms, you know, with the gold chains, and they have glazing to seal up the sides of the leather. It's black, so it's contrasting with the lambskin charm. And there's a teeny tiny little bit, so this happens, there's a teeny tiny little bit of the glazing glue, the black goop, whatever it is, the paint that they put on to seal the edges. There's a teeny tiny little black minuscule spot on the charm. And I was looking and playing, and I always try to be upbeat and really positive in these stores, because I've worked in customer service and I know how people are, and like, I want to go in, and I see so many women walk in and be really nasty and entitled, and I don't like that. So I go and I try to be positive, and I'm playing, and so I see this one charm, and I'm like, oh, you know, like, I'm like, oh, what's that? And the essay is immediately like, oh, is there something there? I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And he was like, oh, let me see it. And he immediately is like, oh, you know what? This is defective. It looks like a little bit of the glazing glue got on it. I'll go try to find you another one. And it was so chill and seamless. And then it was done. Like, that part of it, like, that is exactly how it should be handled. Just simple. Cool. Okay. Nope, that's not right. Let me go try to see if I can find you another one. And yeah. I've really been enjoying this luminizing powder. I just kind of want to put it everywhere. And I think it'll be really nice in the summertime. Because I have drier skin in the winter, probably like everybody. But then again, then I'm in AC a lot in the summertime. Anyway, not what I'm here to talk about. So there's so many examples of how boutiques should behave. And recently, I feel like Chanel has been falling short. Something I also want to say, because this is part of the reason why I haven't been talking about this. I do have an essay at Chanel, and he's the one who helped me get my most recent pieces, including the little light purple micro bag, card holder on chain. I think officially on the website it was called a clutch for whatever reason. But that little light purple one, which I love, he has been so kind, so helpful. His attitude has not changed at all to me since I told him that I didn't want the dark blue classic flap. He has to play by the Chanel rules like every SA, so he has to tell me, unfortunately, I can't hold this for you. We're not allowed to hold anything. Your only option is to buy it over the phone, and then of course we can process a return when you come in. Immediately, no questions asked, it doesn't matter, and he's stuck playing by their rules. He is so kind, so helpful, immediately shows me anything that I'm interested in, that he has access to. He really is a perfect example of the way things should be, but he still has to play by the company rules. And I don't think that they've been set up in such a way that they're particularly friendly. I mean, most women, I would assume, who are buying these things, now maybe Chanel isn't concerned about these women in particular or what they want, but I work during the week. I have a lot of flexibility with my work, and I'm not willing to give that up to make more money. That's part of that whole thing. If you're curious about like my job, maybe I can talk about that at some point, but I have a lot of flexibility, and at a certain point, more money, at a certain point, there's like a huge, I think, curve upward where more money means more freedom. And then you eventually get to a tipping point where it, in some ways, means less options. And I'm not willing to give up more free time. So I can't just run off any time to go see a bag, because I gotta make the money to buy those bags. And that's fine. This kind of goes back to my feelings on the price increases. It's fine if Chanel isn't concerned about customers like me. Whatever. They don't need to set up their rules to accommodate working customers like me. However, when I go in, I want to feel valued and respected, just because I think that's how people should be treated, whether you are spending $5 or $500. However, there is something to spending that amount of money, and you should have certain guarantees, and you should be able to expect that your item is going to come in good condition, and if there's anything wrong, it'll be sorted out seamlessly. I love watching Dale and Connor's content when they do videos together. They're hilarious, and they were talking about like asking for drinks in boutiques, and asking about like, is it rude to ask for champagne? And this was really funny. So I've never been given champagne. I've been told, I've never asked for it, like I said, but I've been told when I've been buying something, oh, you know, we would love to give this to you. We would love to offer this to you right now, but we can't because of COVID restrictions. And I'm just always like, okay, cool. I mean, like, I didn't ask for it. That's fine. Whatever. I do accept water. Ben recently, he accepted a coffee at Fendi because he just didn't think about it. The essay said coffee, and he's like, coffee? And it was really, really good coffee, too. And it was in the beautiful little Fendi China cup, and he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect like coffee. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so they were discussing that whole thing, and I completely agree with, like, I would personally feel super awkward asking for champagne. However, I don't know if that's necessarily like fair or right. Like, and I do think it's different from like going into someone's house. I would never go into someone's house and be like, where's the champagne? Even though it is currently in my fridge, and if anyone wants it, like, I really enjoy offering people champagne when they come over to my house for dinner. Like, whatever it is, Tuesday night, I'm just like, do you want this? So, however, if you see people drinking it in boutique, and someone's like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. Can I have a glass, please? Especially if they have a purchase history, if they've bought one thing, you know, in this crazy store, like, if they, like, come on, just give them a glass of champagne. I mean, okay, and I'm assuming they're buying it at like warehouse prices. I don't know, I've never had champagne from a store, so maybe this is top-notch stuff. But is it though? Is it likely? And again, they're still buying it in large quantities. So I spent a little time working in a dress shop, and the owner of the store offered every single person a drinking age a glass of champagne when they walked in. You know, again, not very expensive. Seriously, the cost would actually come out to similar to a price of water. I understand that you don't want to encourage people just to come in and mooch, but the cost to the company is actually so low. Just make the person feel freaking special. I mean, if this little, like, a small business can do it, you're really telling me Chanel can't? Really? So that's part of what influenced my opinion on that subject, just because I worked for this woman for a little bit. And it was a big deal to her to make everyone come in and feel very special. So, yeah, those are some of my thoughts on the subject. What do you think? How are you feeling about Chanel? I was saying to Ben, you know, we're animals, okay? And just like every animal, you can only do something so many times. You can only get smacked on the nose so many times before you stop doing that thing. Like, and I feel like Chanel is smacking me on the nose. Not a big deal. Not really. I hate disclaimers because I feel like most of them are really obvious. Obviously, this is not getting me down. This is not making me feel depressed and upset in my life. Like, it's Chanel. Whatever, if I never buy a bag from them again, it's fine. However, as someone who is really excited and passionate about the brand and their history, like, and I still like the style. I don't think it's an old lady bag. I think it's cute. As someone who feels that way, it is really disappointing. You know, like I said, I'm not upset. I'm fine, guys. But it is really disappointing to see these changes and what I consider to be like a lack of respect for customers. Like I've bought a classic flap. No, I haven't bought any ready to wear. And I bought a couple like small leather goods, if you think about those little card holders on chains, the micro bags. I love my Chanel 19. I love the collection that I have, and if I never get anything there again, that's fine. There are so many brands. Go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. That is always, always true. And it's just not really worth the risk having a bad time to me right now. I'm sure I will go into Chanel again. I might even buy something from them again. There are things that I would like. I would eventually like to find a card holder, but that might never happen. Whatever. They are so hard to come by when I go in, and that eye roll and that dismissive attitude of like, no, we don't have that. It's just kind of like, okay, I want to be shown what I want. That's the kind of buyer I am. I go in knowing if I'm able to spend money, how much money roughly that can be, and then I'm like, show me things, like, inspire me. That's what fashion and art are there to do. Yeah. So I think that kind of summarizes my feelings on this subject. There are things that I've messed up and missed out, and if you have any issues with anything I've said, please be aware that, again, I'm just a person talking to a camera, and please seek clarification. We might either have a misunderstanding or we just might have different opinions, and that is totally fine. In the same way of like never getting another bag again, like, it's Chanel. If we have different opinions on Chanel, that is also okay. I thought my cat was crying, but it's actually a small child outside. That's fine. Wait, well, I mean, they're fine. Like, they're not distraught. They're happy. It's happy child screaming. Okay. Where was I going with that? Yeah. So between the damaged products, I do think that if somebody is going in and they want, and they want to order, I think that someone should be able to go in and order a black classic flap. If they are willing to pay $10,000 for it, then they should be able to walk into any Chanel boutique and say, hey, I'm willing to give you this money, and I'm willing to wait 10 months for the bag. Order it now. Or in saying that nicely, like, I think that should be an option. But it's not. And some people are met with such dismissive attitudes when they go into boutique. And I've experienced that, and it sucks. And you get the feeling like you're not tall enough to ride this ride, which doesn't feel good. It's okay that I can't afford some things, like, and that I'll never be able to afford some things, but to then, like, go into a place that you have previously loved and really enjoyed, and then to be met with, like, almost disdain, like, it don't feel good. So that's, yeah, I think that rounds out my thoughts. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I have nobody else to talk to about this. My husband has very strong feelings, but he doesn't care about these things. He's very much like Chanel, like, you should never buy a bag from them again, because he's been with me when we've had these experiences, and he's just like, no, you should never ever buy something from them again. But he's not excited for these things, I think, the way we are. So it's understandable that he's just like, okay, well, that's done. So please let me know what you think. I hope this was coherent. I hope I didn't look like a goof putting on my makeup. Yeah, we'll see when I attempt to edit this. And I'm gonna have some coffee. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'd like to discuss this more with you in the comments or on Instagram if you want to do it privately. And yeah, thank you for watching. Anyway, bye.
Okay, so of course I forgot something. And this really is, it's not related to the treatment in boutiques, but it is related to why I probably will never get another classic flap at this point. I feel very uncomfortable just knowing that technically the one I have is like valued at roughly $10,000. I have never ever aspired to have a bag that expensive. To me, it's not about the price. I like handbags. I like cheap ones. I like expensive ones. I love vintage ones. Um, so it's not so much about the price, but I do genuinely feel very uncomfortable just thinking of that much money being on my arm. Maybe if I made more money, I wouldn't feel this way, but I don't. And it's a lot of money. That's a significant portion of my expendable income just sitting on my arm. And we're of course flooded. I live on the East Coast. We're flooded with news articles regarding violent crimes and theft, and it's just a lot of money sitting there. And I don't think I feel that comfortable carrying a bag that expensive. I guess that answers the question if I'll ever get a galley. Um, yeah, that's I just wanted to add that because of course I did say it on my wish list. I am considering getting a classic flap in like a dark color. At this point, I don't think that will happen. Mostly just because spending the money is one thing. I don't know how I feel about that. As I said in my wishlist video, I don't know if like when I'm standing there holding the bag, if I'll even ever be able to spend that much money on a bag, like get myself to do it. But then just thinking about carrying something that is valued that high, I don't know. Yeah. So I think that was the last thing I wanted to say.